If your attitude were contagious, would it be worth catching? Whoa.
What?
Yeah, that's what we're going to talk about today. So welcome to Coffee with Ken. And I have my guests here.
Good
We
morning.
flipped the tables because officially it's Coffee with Ken. We have Ken Brown, CEO of Destiny Global. We have Butch McCracken in the house, who is the general manager of Destiny Global. And I'm Dr. April Brown, who is the coach and coach trainer here at Destiny Global. And I'm his wife. So
Yes,
those
you
are
are.
my titles. So we're talking about that today, and it goes along with the law of promotion. I'm going to take my little sip because
Yeah, let's have a sip. It's
it
coffee
is
time.
Coffee with Ken. So it goes along with that, like that law of promotion, which is if you're faithful with a little, you'll be ruler over much, much more. So attitudes, like we think we think of like we have to be faithful with something we're given.
Mm-hmm.
But what about in our workplace, our attitudes, and being so faithful with our attitudes in the workplace? Because it really does affect the morale.
Oh, it's
One bad
Right.
complaining attitude poisons the whole work environment. And are you that poison?
Yeah.
Like you're always looking at the other person, but is it you that is poisoning the place where you work and the
Right.
environment?
Yeah.
So,
we've seen
sorry
it.
about
I mean,
that.
we've seen it where someone is in an environment and it's not perfect enough for them, so they constantly complain. And that will disrupt everything that an organization's doing. It's complaining steals joy. It's what it does. Complaining steals joy. And people don't want to be around you, or if they gravitate towards you, then they're complainers as well. And then you have the complaining ship that they all jump on, right? That is a sinking ship, right?
Right.
Zig Ziglar said years ago, and people often, you'll see other people with their name quoted on it. Zig Ziglar originally said it, your attitude will determine your altitude.
Yes.
Not your IQ, not what you think you know, your attitude. A person with the right attitude comes in with a teachable spirit, with a can-do attitude, and they just bring an energy to the place that is so welcome. And that's one of the things that we so love about Destiny Global is it is a can-do attitude of a community that is willing to take on things, hard things, and overcome them.
Sure.
Complainers, they don't. All they do is complain. It's never good enough. But you don't mow your lawn enough. But you don't do this. But
Oh, have
it's
you ever
constantly-
had a neighbor like that?
oh no.
No.
we
I
could,
think
we
one of
could
the-
go into
the-
that, but we're in the workplace.
Yeah, right. It makes me think back to when people would whine about situations at the workplace. I would just look at them and say, do you want to be part of the solution or part of the problem? Because if you're part of the solution, let's talk. But if you're part of the problem, I got to move on, type
Right.
of thing. And that's exactly it. You're one of the two things. Complainers are just part of the problem, right? And I've noticed in my career that the complainers, it just tags along with them wherever they go. And it just gets louder and louder because the more you move along, the more responsibility you get, the more complaining you're going to do if you don't learn to overcome it.
That goes along with that law of promotion. Like
Yeah.
it literally, even if you get that promotion, it's just going to continue to follow you. And you're going to then get the complainers when you're in that position.
Right.
Yes.
Because you will, the other law, you'll reap what you sow.
That's
Yep.
right. No, it's very true. And we've seen this. We have seen this in our own lives, and we had some complainers in our life, and literally you have to confront it. You can't just leave it there and challenge them, because one or two things, which I know that you people watching, you're great leaders, and so it's challenging because when you call that person in to sit down and talk with them, it's either a kick in the pants or a pat on the back. Which one is it going to be? And I love the people, as we were talking before we got on camera, it's so wonderful just to have that person that just comes in every day and is constantly doing their job well. Because when you call them in, you know that you're going to have a great conversation because hey, guess what? Because you have been faithful with the little, you're going to get more. You're going to get more responsibility. And here's your new job. And you're team lead. And then goes from team lead to supervisor, from supervisor to manager. And then the next thing you know, they're up for the big promotion,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's the way it happens, is just bringing a can-do attitude to the workplace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so important.
Yeah.
So what do you recommend for those who are in that environment? Maybe they're assessing right now and they're saying, oh, maybe that is me. Maybe I have been a complainer. What can they do to really change that in the workplace and change their attitude or even the way they're seen?
For me, it's just once you become aware, now you become part of the solution.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's a situation you don't like that you're whining or complaining about, what can you do about it? How can you fix it?
Mm-hmm.
Versus just complaining all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So just become part of that solution. Help fix it. Just because you're not in a high level position doesn't mean that your opinion couldn't be valuable.
Well,
Mhm.
and there's two different kinds of complaining. There's one that's about just general, can be the job that a person doesn't, because a lot of jobs can be mundane. You're doing the same, they're repetitive.
Mhm.
So you're doing it over and over again. It doesn't mean it's not valuable. It just
Right.
means it's repetitive.
Mhm.
But those jobs can become complain oriented. Then you have the other person that's complaining about people. And that one's much more destructive, because you actually start tearing down people to stand on their shoulders to get to where you're going. And those are the individuals that I have relatively brief conversations with and confront them on. And when I hear them, I make it very uncomfortable. And you've actually seen me do this, where I will pull the person that was talking about the other person, and we will sit down together and say, hey, this was made aware. What are we going to do about it, and how are we going to address it? And 9 times out of 10, that ends that person doing it. Okay, or they won't show up to the meeting and they'll quit.
Mhm.
Right? And I've had both situations happen, and one person was having such a bad, difficult situation going on outside of the workplace. It's like, okay, well, let's talk through that so that we can work on that attitude. We can work on what's going on in your life and help them actually see that they have a future and a hope. Right? That's what we do, instill hope, where people, and we do more than hope, right? Hoping's only half the battle. We get you down setting a vision for your life and getting goals in place. And once you start achieving goals, there's no room for complaining. Now it's time to get busy and succeed. And once you get that mindset, because it is a mindset, everything that we're talking about here goes back to mindset.
Yeah.
Am I a champion who overcomes? Well, but we lost every game last year. We just couldn't win anything. Quarterback didn't throw the ball, blah, blah, blah. It's just constant complaining. We had that in football one year. Next year, we begin to come into it. It's like, okay, what are you going to do about it? What about your position? And every person, because, there's 11 people that play football on each side of the ball. So are they playing their position to be the best? And that really comes down to a sense of bringing team and a winning attitude and creating, and a single person can change the vision of an entire team. One person believing that they can do it, and then that person starts working hard every day. Then the next person starts working hard, and the next. Because if the other people don't, they get embarrassed because they're not keeping up with the rest of the team. And it starts standing out, and we've seen that ourselves.
Yeah. The interesting thing about that, especially these days, is that someone who isn't complaining, look at all the stuff that happened with COVID. There was a lot more complaining of this person's working more at home. Why can't I work at home? Or why can't I? Like, there was just a lot more sense of, like, complaining and that attitude. And there was uncertainty, a lot of uncertainty. So that creates a lot of consternation in people about what's going on. But the people who don't do that in a situation like that, those are the people that really stand out.
Yeah.
They're really the people, especially these days, because we even have a term, unfortunately for Karens, we have like a term, like calling them Karens, which is
And
so
we have our own
unfortunate.
Karen
I know,
Malloy
she's
that's
wonderful.
like amazing,
She's
right?
so
And we
wonderful.
Love that.
But it is that attitude that you just bring to something and you're just complaining about something, like literally finding things to be so offended about and complaining about it. I saw a video the other day where it was literally a lady complaining about a young man standing outside trying to sell something, and she's like literally yelling at this guy, and the guy's like, I'm gonna buy all of this guy's stuff, And that was literally videoed because it was such a difference. It was such a dichotomy between the complainer and the one that was like this problem solver.
Yeah.
That somebody was literally videoing them to see that dichotomy. And so you're
Yeah.
going to stand out when you try to make a difference and to bring a different attitude that elevates
Absolutely.
the mood instead of
Absolutely.
bringing it all down. So
Yeah,
it's
for
really
sure.
powerful.
Elevate your
Yes.
workplace. It's your mindset. Can do attitude. You know where we're going to be talking about mindsets a lot?
An event coming up.
Yes, in Pensacola, Florida.
And I got my palm.
You
palm
do.
rings
You got
on
it going
today,
on. You got
so
your green.
just
Got
to
a little bit
remind
of.
me to
Yep.
like tell y'all about this because in Pensacola, Florida, July 29th through 31st, we're going to do First Steps to Success. And you're going to learn about this law and many other different laws
Right.
that will help to propel you to the goals that you want in your workplace, or if it's a home-based business, whatever you're doing that you want to take it to, you want to scale it. You want to
Right.
upscale or scale it up and
Yep.
do the best that you can be and have the right mindset, because that is so important, because when you're around all of that other negativity, it's really hard to stay in that mind space. So
Yes,
First Steps
for
to
sure.
Success, July 29th through 31st, we want to see you there. Information is below. Click on the link, go there and sign up and come to Pensacola, Florida, because
Yes.
it's
Bring
gonna
your
be-
team with you.
bring your
You want to
team.
change your
Oh my-
attitude.
Your work environment.
We
can
have people that
change.
do that.
Yes, they
Stuart Lynn brings his company,
Mhm.
and look at his company blowing it up, right?
Yes.
It's because they all have the same can-do attitude and learn how to work through conflict, because conflict is going to happen because we're people, right? And we have 2
Yeah.
feet. And then you have 2 feet, and usually when you look at one other's foot, their feet stink and yours don't, right? Because that's how we are as
Yes,
humans.
We have thousands of testimonies like
Yes.
that of people scaling their businesses by bringing their teams. So click the link below, go in there, sign up for to get your seat.
Yeah.
Okay, seats are
In person.
Yes,
We're
so
going to have
excited.
virtual too. I do want to say that,
We have
but
the virtual option, but I encourage
Highly
you to
recommend.
get
Yes.
yourself there. And
Yes.
it's not too late. So click on the link. We want to see you there. And thanks for joining us. And go get that promotion by having the right attitude.
Yes.
Elevate
Become
your attitude.
contagious.
Yes. a
attitude will
good
determine your
attitude.
altitude.
Yes.
Here we go. Have a great day.
Thanks for joining.